Hi, Midlife Goddess here, and I would like to talk about whether you can tell if you're in love or not. Now, I know a couple things because I've been around for a little bit, and I'll say this: I've lived. I've lived. And there are so many people telling you that you have to do this, that, the other in dating. I want to tell you from my perspective whether or not it's true love. This is going to be a little bit sad, but I'm going to tell you one little secret. It doesn't happen that often. It doesn't happen that easily. It might happen in your life once, twice, three times. It's not going to happen. Every person you date that you're working to fall in love with, that's not it. So, how did this come up? Today, I was lucky enough to talk to my little sister, who I absolutely love. She is 5 years younger than me, and she is 46. And for so long, I've hoped that she would have a wonderful person in her life. And she had somebody in her life semi recently, a boyfriend. And, well, let's put it this way. You know how people in movies get cast for the roles they look like? The role he would have gotten cast for would be like probably somebody who lived in a trailer park, worked at a fair, a carny. I don't know. He had sort of a indented temples and a strange face. He was tall. He was blonde. He did have blue eyes. So those things on paper would tell you, but no. Anyway, I mean, even if you're butt ass ugly, if you were a great person, it wouldn't matter. He was a person who was gaslighting her. He was cheap and he was lazy. There's nothing worse than a man who's lazy. He worked for a cleaning company. That's how she met him. He was cleaning her house that she was renting out. And he didn't really want to start his own business or do anything. He was just happy doing that. A nutcracker, making what he made each week, and that was it. He one time suggested to her, this is great, that she should come to work with him and help him clean houses that day because it would be a romantic thing for them to do. I'm like, for free? And he thought that was a date? So, needless to say, I didn't think this guy was good enough for my sister. And I've been praying off and on, not daily, not obsessively, but that she would meet somebody who is good enough for her. And then today she tells me I've had a boyfriend for a month. He's already told me he loves me. He wants to marry me, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, and then she says, I've talked to a couple people and they've told me I should be worried. It's moving too fast. This, that, the other. Okay. Here's the truth. If you're going to fall in love with somebody, that's how it happens. It happens really fast. It just is. It's not you have control over it. It's not we're going to see each other once a week or twice a week or none of that. It is on. It is on. And especially a man who likes you and chooses you and you choose him, it happens right away. They make their move right away. I remember I think it was Thanksgiving, we were sitting around having Thanksgiving dinner, and there were two adult men at the table. Actually, also my nephew was at the table, and he's not an adult man. I think he's like 14, but he still has a man's opinion on things. Anyway, the subject came up of long-term relationships, and another sister of mine said something about she'd been in this long-term relationship and blah blah blah, and I said, if a guy wants you, he stakes his claim right away. If you're not married within 2 years, at least engaged with a date. It's not happening. And all the guys at the table immediately agreed because they know it's true. When a guy decides you're the one, he makes moves based on that. He wants you in his life and he locks it down. And he doesn't just, see you once or 3 times a week. That is not love. That is dating as if you're in corporate America, and it's companionship. That's if so, you're hoping they're going to grow on you or you're going to grow on them. Now, can you fall in love with someone right away and they don't fall in love with you? Yes, it can happen. And vice versa. A lot of guys can fall in love with you and you just don't think of them that way. Let me tell you. But when it's the real thing, both people, literally, it's love at first sight. Love at first sight is the only love. Love at first sight is the only love. When my father met my mother on their second date, which I think was officially their first date, because I believe she was on a date with someone else and they were on a double date, and he called her. On their second date, he asked her to marry him. That's what men do when they fall in love. They move in right away. So if you're trying to make somebody fall in love with you by just spending time with them and hoping that it happens, I've done it. I've been there. It's not going to happen. And you can have plenty of very cool, interesting relationships where you get a lot out of it, you learn a lot out of it, but it's not true love. It's not the real love, the love that songs are written about, movies are written about, books are written about, and wars are fought over. It's not that love. That love does not happen very often. It only happens once, twice, 3 times in your life. Now, perhaps I don't speak for NPCs, and I don't know that if I had maybe a limited bandwidth of what I could experience in life, maybe for those people there's endless options of other people with limited bandwidth, right? But if you're a person who's lived a life, who's had a fascinating life, what's the saying? You march to a different drum. You go the road less traveled. If you're an independent thinker, if you're imaginative, if you create ideas, if you live your life in a way where you're constantly growing, there aren't tons of people that you're going to fall in love with and that are going to fall in love with you. You're not an interchangeable part. You're a very unique, special being. And so is the person that you're going to be with. And there aren't tons of them out there. Maybe 5% of people are even in a range of, well, let me ask you this question. Have you noticed, tell me if you've noticed, that certain people you meet and you're just like, you have so much to talk about, right? And it could be, I'm not talking romantically, I'm just talking about a person that you meet. Like, you're walking your dog, say, I'm walking my dog, and I strike up a conversation with, a lady who's in her 80s, and we just start talking. We have so much to say, right? Why is that? It's because she is really awake. And so am I. It's like when two humans meet, they have tons to talk about. Tons. They feel sort of starved for interaction, I think. And then they sort of have this connection that comes immediately. So it's kind of the same with romance. It's when a person who's, the lights are on and someone's home, they're not doing what they're told to do in the world. They're making their own decisions, their own choices, living their own life. When they meet someone else who's like them, romantically, and they're both attracted to each other, it happens very fast. It happens instantly. And it's a connection that goes way beyond just physical. You could say it's spiritual. And it is amazing. So I'm so happy for my sister. The next thing is I've always thought she would be an amazing mother. She's really, really good with kids and she loves kids. I mean, I love kids, but in a little does me well. Little goes a long way kind of way. And I really love the kids that are like little adults mostly. I don't love just all kids, all screaming little kids, no. But the ones that are cute little, like speaking in full sentence, those are my kind of kids. She loves all kids. She really loves kids. She loves kids the way I love dogs. I love pretty much all dogs and most cats and most animals. And so I just love animals a lot. But she loves kids that way and she's really, really good with them. And I've always hoped she would have a child. And I've even gave her, that sisterly advice of, what you would tell your sister, just go get knocked up. I did say it. I said, if he looks like he has good genetics, maybe you should just get knocked up. I've told her that for a while. And she was like, I don't want to have a child by myself. And I said, okay. But then she started thinking about it. But, the truth is, good genetics are pretty important, right? And especially if you're a woman of a certain age, you need somebody who has very strong genes. Now, the guy she was just dating, the one who was zero motivated, cheap, I would just say a loser, and gaslighting her, I never encouraged her to have a child with him because, like, it would have been a rough future for her to be locked into a situation with that guy for the rest of her life. Now, she sends me a picture of her new guy who loved her the minute he saw her. Already has told her he wants to marry her, wants her to move in with him. He's doing all these things for her. I mean, he's serious. He's serious. And I look at him and he has this beautiful, well-structured face and this open smile. And I'm like, maybe I will get a niece or nephew. And I think that they would make a wonderful little child. So I'm, of course, telling her as another one of her friends who really cares about her told her, like, go figure out fertility stuff right away. Get on it. And I agree. Get on it. The universe loves speed. The universe loves to change in an instant. I'm so excited. Can you tell? I'm really excited. But back to love. Don't rush love. Don't try to force yourself to be in love. Spend all the time on yourself, becoming more interesting, more fascinating, more original. Be as original as you can be. Because you can't hurry it. It's part of his plan, right? You can't rush it. You can only prepare yourself by being as wonderful as you can be. And then when it happens, it's there. And you're grateful. Like I'm grateful that she's met somebody. And I know that I will. And could I settle and have a boyfriend tomorrow? Sure. But for what? For what? I'd rather improve myself, than just waste time with somebody who's a maybe or mediocre. I know what love feels like. The last time I met someone and fell in love with them instantly, he definitely fell in love with me instantly too. It was so obvious, so clear. It was eyes across the room, boom, fireworks. And it did not work out with him and I. He lived far away. He was with somebody he wasn't happy with, who was also pregnant. Nothing happened between this guy and I, other than talking intensely for a few days. But that's a long story. Maybe I'll tell you that story sometime. It's kind of a romantic ships in the night kind of story. It really is. Anyway, I'm not sad that that happened because it gave me the memory of what it feels like to fall in love. It is not, there's no effort in falling in love with them. There's no, well, this about them could work for me. This about them could work for me. There's no checklist, laundry list of how it could work. There is instant, crazy attraction. You can't stop smiling. They can't stop smiling. You look at each other, and maybe someone else would see them as attractive. You see them as perfection, and they see you as perfection. That's how it is. This guy's telling my sister, her hair, her this, her that, everything about her is perfection to him. And everything about him is perfection to her. And that's how it is. So you can try to date people and be like, they're attractive, but this, but this, but this, but this, but this, and just tell yourself that that's love. It's not love. It's companionship. If you want companionship, have it. If you want love, then just know you might be waiting for a while. And that's okay. It's okay. I feel it's a waste of time to focus your energy on somebody who's not the one. I know that sounds harsh, but that's how I feel. I mean, how do you feel? Have you focused your energy on someone who's not the one? I mean, I've wasted years of my life with somebody who was not the one. Years. And how many guys have been in a relationship they're not really happy in, but now stuck in, and then met the girl they really wanted? I just saw that happen. So I was a bartender for several years, and that's kind of like being a therapist. And there were so many guys that were married to a woman and who would tell me the story about the one that got away, the one they really wanted. And they were in this mediocre life with this mediocre love, right? Is mediocre worth having, or would it be better to be alone? I think it's way better to be alone. I mean, it's good to have friends, contacts. I don't know. I'm not even saying be celibate. I'm just saying, why would you call it a relationship if it's not? Why would you put your energy into it if it's not the one? And if you have to ask yourself if it's the one, that's a no. Maybe is no. Yes is yes. Maybe is no. That is the easiest rule to remember about anything. Do you like that dress? Should I buy it? Maybe is no. Do I like that house? Maybe is no. When you get a yes, that's a yes. All the maybes that you start making lists for yourself and thinking, how can I get to an answer on this? Not meant to be. No's. They're no's. Sorry. So I'm just hoping that I can shed some light on what real love feels like and what average relationships feel like. Bleh, boring, so-so, even keel, steady, practical, like a business arrangement. How many people do you know that are married, that are madly in love? Not many, right? Very few. When I think about all the married people that I've ever known, how many of them do I think really are into each other? Such a small number. And it's so obvious when you see it, when they're like best friends and they're passionately in love with each other and they just think their other half is the most amazing person in the world. I mean, that's what you're aiming for, right? And that starts out with instant fall in love at first sight attraction. That's how that starts out. No other way. No other way. So, I hope this helps. Let me know. Have you been in love? Are you still waiting? Have you been in love more than once? How many times has this happened to you? And how do you know? Thank you for watching. I appreciate it so much. And I hope that my sound is good. I'm trying this microphone thing out. And so, Midlife Goddess sharing her wisdom. Thank you for watching. Bye.